Financial management is a process of planning, organizing, controlling and monitoring financial resources with a view to achieve organizational goals and objectives. However, determining an effective financial management structure is still a challenge to entrepreneur startups. A brief survey done by Damali Ssali, a chartered accountant and trade expert during the mentorship session of Women in FinTech hackathon proved that some developers and entrepreneurs still miss out effective financial management skills and tools.
Who has a financial background?
No.
No. Do you know how much money you put in so far?
No.
Do you know how much time you invested in this so far?
Yes.
And do you know the value of your time?
No.
No. Okay. Do you know how much money you need to get to your MVP?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know how much money you need to break even?
Yes.
If you are pitching this product to a potential investor, who would be speaking on your behalf? Good. Do you have anyone on your team who has a financial background? No. Do you know the value of your time per hour?
Not yet.
No. Do you know how many hours so far you put in? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Do you know how much money you need to get to your MVP? I think you learned about that this.
Yeah, an estimate.
Okay.
She mentored 15 women-led teams on financial management and sourcing for finance.
To take from this talk, at least, is that financial management is just as important as product development. From the small survey I've done, very few of you actually have someone with a financial background on your team. That's understandable. You're developers. However, do not allow it to continue that way. You have to know how much money you're putting in. You have to know how much money you need. So today, talking about financial management is literally just about that. To know how much money you have, how much money you need, how much money so far you've invested into your development at any one time. So that if at any one time I come to you and I'm like, AgriConnect, how much money have you sunk into your product right now? You should be able to tell me off your fingertips. And why is that very important? It is because, as I said, financial management is just as important as product development. The main reason why financial management is just as important as product development is that it's only those companies that manage their finances that are able to attract finance. Money follows money. If you don't know how much money you have, how much money you spend, how much money you need, no one is actually going to be putting in their money because you appear like I'll be giving you my money and you'll be losing it. So as someone who is maybe looking for potential investment, you need to know how much money you're using, how much money you need to break even, how much money do you need to get to your MVP. So that's why financial management is just as important as product development. Product development alone, yes, important, but equally critical is financial management. That's why you see people, developers who have excellent products that when you go and talk to them and they show you around it, it's fantastic. It's better than everything out there. But those things out there manage their finances. So that's why they're out there. Then this one with a fantastic product maybe didn't manage their product. So they weren't able to attract capital. They weren't able to manage how their product, they weren't able to market it. They weren't able to put it on the market, therefore. And therefore they're stuck with it on their laptop, even if it's a fantastic product. I know most of you are developing products that are actually going to be very good for the on impact on people. Just look at the circles, look at the two that are doing agribusiness. They have a high impact. But if you don't manage your finances so that you can get your product to that point, because without money, you actually can't get it to that point. If you don't, then you will actually, the general population will be suffering because your wonderful product that is going to help a lot of women, a lot of farmers, will actually never get out there. They'll be stuck with products that are maybe exploitative, maybe not as good, because you did not manage your finance.
Innocent Kawoya, the CEO High People, appreciated the teams for their innovations. He, however, advises the developers to ensure their solutions are worth payment.
Awesome seeing what is happening on day 3 of the Women in FinTech hackathon. I had the chance, a very special chance, interacting with each of the 15 teams and knowing the kind of solutions they have. One was seemingly very interesting, thinking about democratizing agriculture. I think their team is called AgriConnect. And they're thinking about making sure they create a platform that calls everyone that is a player in the ecosystem to connect them through opportunities that are available. If you want to have poultry, someone has a building, a house that can accommodate poultry, instead of building one, come and collaborate and do something together. If you want to have a garden of beans and I have land, come and we do something together. I mean, And more to that, there was another very amazing initiative that is thinking about making sure women, especially those who are more closely related to the message of Kameza, actually have money left home, but they don't misuse the money anymore. Fully utilize it to make sure it is profitable, to make sure it is transformative, and not buying clothes and makeup every single time. So it's been very, very amazing seeing the many things that are coming up. But our broader message is that as we create these innovations, we are urging all these teams, and I was urging all of them, that make sure that the entry point is creating an interoperable payment system. When you allow everyone to pay seamlessly, then it means you allow any kind of business to come in. So you'll allow as many customers to come in. One of the biggest barriers of trade and progress of businesses around the world is that someone might have a good concept, a good prototype, but I don't even know how to support them to start with because they have no payment gateway. So the Women in FinTech Hackathon is supposed to facilitate these women-led teams to make sure that when they are creating applications that are solving day-to-day problems in the community, they are also making sure that they are ready to be paid.
Damali recommended developers to engage in research, record keeping, and adding value to assets.
Google is your friend, your best friend. There are so many applications online that are free that you can download that can help you with basic financial management, especially as a startup. Read up a little bit about finance. Get one of your team members. You know, I kept asking you, who on your team is actually doing finance? If you don't have anyone on your team doing finance, delegate someone, appoint someone, choose someone who has even a tiny little bit of interest in money, or who is always asking you, how much have we spent? I think it's too much. Get them or her to start working on the spreadsheet so that you quantify exactly how much money you put in. If you've used transport to get here, quantify it. If you connect, will be like, we spent sleepless nights. I used my last coin onto this product. Therefore, for me, I feel this value X. The investor will ask you on what basis. I think, no, I spent blood, sweat, and tears on it. But on what basis? The only way to get a basis is for you to actually accumulate every point that you put in. If you're 3 people on team members, you spend 5 days developing the product, then quantify it. You know how much they would pay you if you were working for a company, the hourly rate, multiply that, and then quantify it. Then if you've used any other, like you've used your social networks, there are some intangible assets. So you can put that in there as well. Like an intangible asset, like I have a connection in Ministry of Agriculture, and they allowed us to, they said that if we get it to the MVP, they will allow us to pilot it. That's not you can't get a value for it, but it's an intangible asset. There's some intellectual property value that you can also get. If you register your product with, you trademark it with URSB, that adds value to your product. And you should as soon as possible, because you don't want to be developing a product that's already patented that you can't actually take to the market. And if you are, it's better to find out right now, and then you can change your course. And if it's unique, then get the trademark. That adds value to your product, and even when you're selling it off, or even when you're raising for investment. An investor will put more money in a product that has a trademark than in one that doesn't have a trademark. Put more money in a product that has its domain name than one that doesn't have a domain name. So those are all things that you need to think through right now as you're developing. And if you don't have them, find out how much they cost and know that that is a cost you will need to actually incur. So when I told you how much money would you need to get to break even, those are costs that should actually be captured. Otherwise, you will never know how much it will really ever cost you.
Teams have also explored some level 1 principles, including government support and system design. These apply to different solutions depending on developers' interest. However, Mojaloup as a vital tool.
One of the use cases here, which we did mention, and I have to re-emphasize, is what they call the account lookup service. When you are doing your solution, if your solution is going to work with 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000 financial service providers, then you will need this account lookup.
According to Kawoya, the Women in FinTech Hackathon is to change the narrative of sustainability among women and their communities.
The Women in FinTech Hackathon is part of the many initiatives that High People is running to make sure our communities are better, our families are better, our markets are more profitable, and the world achieves full financial inclusion soon. Of course, it is a fact that women have been left behind in so many sectors, especially in technology, and the deep technology of innovating and inventing code, systems, programs, applications, and all that. But that time has gone. The same way initiatives like Level 1 Project think, the same way World Bank thinks, the same way UN through its Sustainable Development Goals thinks, that women should be prioritized now, especially until 2030, in making sure they are part of the day-to-day development and transformation of the world into a safe world, an economically enjoyable world, a health world, and one that is able to take care of its families, its individuals, the markets, and every economy. Women are supposed to be given the first chance to make sure that they innovate for the problems that we face as communities, because they are more closely related to them.
Today has been the third day of the Women in FinTech Hackathon. The Women in FinTech Hackathon is organized by High People under its Include Everyone program in partnership with Crosslake Take, Modest Box, Modulope Foundation, and Level 1 Project. Rita Cabanyoro, Smart 24.